GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, heading out for another long one, Fabian Coulthard. We're down here by the garages, so a few $1 million worth of machinery has exited pit lane and is out there. Just how different is this extreme kind of machinery that we're seeing out there versus what we've already seen? TCR, Trans Am, V8 touring cars.
I think, the main thing with a GT3 car is the aero. They're a lot lower to the ground. They rely on a lot of aerodynamics to be able to corner fast, and they've got a flat floor underneath the car as well. So aerodynamics is a big thing in these cars. Obviously, they're a lot of money. They're prestigious brands. And they're just an all-round great car to drive.
And the conditions. If you were in the car, you'd ask for the numbers. I just got it from one of the guys behind us. 30 degrees ambient, 34 track temperature.
It's definitely warm. The soles of my shoes are melting. So I'm looking forward to this race. Obviously, high UV. The track temp's going to be up as well, like you've just mentioned. The cars are going to move around a bit, so it should be a good race.
And the distance of the race, too. It's a long one, so it's a hard work in there.
It will be. If two drivers get to share this race, so it's not too bad, but it's obviously going to be a high ambient, and it's going to be high in the cabin.
All right, let's get ready to roll. Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. In the commentary box, James Moffat has joined Rusty and Crailsey.
Matty, thank you. Good afternoon to you and everybody. We are really looking forward to this. Qualifying a little earlier today was done by the AM drivers, but for the first, or the final, I should say, of our races this weekend, the pros will start. It was a great story, James Moffat. Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim claimed his first ever career pole. It was an amazing story, a 1 minute 08.58. He delivered for Triple Eight and did it in emphatic fashion.
Yeah, it was a fantastic lap by the Prince, there's no doubt about that, but it sets up a fantasising front row with both Jamie Whincup and Garth Tander. So this is sort of reminiscence of supercar years gone by.
Fantasising.
Yeah,
I like it.
Probably wasn't the correct choice of words.
No.
When James goes to sleep, he dreams of race cars. That's all he's saying, Richard.
Exactly
That's
right.
all he was saying.
I'm on board with that completely. So at the pointy end of this field, the fantasising pro drivers will start this one. Jamie Whincup behind the wheel of 88 after Abu Ibrahim did a super job in qualifying earlier today for the Pirelli Pole Award. It's Garth Tander behind the wheel of 65. Max Hoffa in 75 in the Audi. Brad Schumacher, the lone wolf am among the pros at the front with Garnett Patterson and Jaden Ojeda behind them. Then it's Brock Feeney and Brett Hobson behind the wheel of the 96 Merc. Garth Walden will start their 45 car and Josh Hunt, car 102. Watch them to go forward from 10th place. Chris Batzios to jump in for the second half. Paul Stokel will start the KFC Audi out of 11th place. Then it's Daniel Gillison in the Mark Cars Australia car, Ash Samadi. Marcel Zalua in 44 for Valmont Racing. Renee Gracie, champion-elect now in the Trophy Series for the older spec cars in Fanatec GT World Challenge. Darren Curry and Paul Lucchetti, who returns to the field in the Tigani Autosport Trophy Class Audi. So, an hour on the clock, the field's set. Compulsory pit stops halfway through as well, with different pit stop times to yesterday. We'll come to that, Rusty, as this race evolves. But a fascinating fight, and boy, it's close at the pointy end of the championship.
Yasser Shahin and Garnett Patterson keep learning about that Porsche. What have they got on offer in this one? Whincup versus Tander. They used to be Triple Eight stablemates. Now they're up against each other in this one. Away we go. Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia. Look at them into one. Elbow down. Tander. Bit of contact there as they come through one. Game on.
And those two are still going at it, Rusty. The two Audis from Melbourne Performance Centre, Tander and Hoffa, banging doors side by side, still on the exit of turn 2.
Max Hoffa was trying to go left and right. There was no room for the young Austrian to get through on the start of this one. Look at the Porsche making moves. Patterson went to the inside, but he's actually going to lose ground to Brock Feeney in the AMG, who sails around the outside of the bright green Porsche and gets himself to 4th place. While all this has been going on, Jamie Whincup has disappeared up the road in the race lead. This is Feeney. Oh, sliding around on Cole Pirellis. Max Hoffa in front. Garth Tander driving that car hard. So Hoffa's finally cleared the Shannon's Audi. Tander back to 3rd, Feeney 4th, and Patterson down a spot to 5th. And Jaden Ojeda just in behind them in that bright red and black Mercedes AMG.
I went quiet when we jumped on board with Brock Feeney with good reason. We were hoping those of you watching at home live here on Stan Sport enjoyed the brutal sound of that Mercedes AMG. The sister car leads the way in the hands of Jamie Whincup. Hoffa who did the job yesterday with Jeff Emery, runs in second place. We know the Austrian's fast here, and he's now starting to make inroads on Jamie Whincup. A gap back to Garth Tander, with Brock Feeney looking menacing behind him in the 888 entry.
That was a really good time to go on board there with Brock Feeney into turn 4. Illustrated how much these cars still move around despite all the aerodynamic aids that they have on a cold tyre. He was really having to wrestle that Mercedes AMG.
And the reason there's so much energy around the Max Hoffa, Jeff Emery, Jamek Racing Audi is because they need to get to the front. They've got the longest mandatory pit stop of all the leading contenders, 113 seconds for them. It's 103 for the car that leads the race lead. So 10 seconds free kick right there to that Merc. That's why Max Hoffa was so feisty, so aggressive on the opening lap. For Garth Tander and Liam Talbot in the Shannon's car, only 98 seconds. So they've played all their balls right to the end of the weekend in terms of tyre, in terms of starting Garth in the car in this race, and Liam finishing at home on what should be a good tyre. Everything's going to, in their mind, work out well for the 65-10. They've skewed everything to this race to try and get the results, and let's see how that plays out.
If GT racing is something a little new to you, Richard's just walked you through one of the aspects of the game, and they are reviewed in between races. So that's in the wake of yesterday's success for Emery and Hoffa. We jump back aboard. Listen to the sound. So magic with Brock Feeney. Continuing to light up the timing board in the meantime. Quickest in the first sector. Whincup's responded. Fastest through the middle part of the lap. It's less than a second between them. You were riding there with Feeney as he chases Garth Tander in the Shannon's Insurance Audi, which holds down third place. Then a gap back to Garnett Patterson in the Porsche that he shares with Yasser Shahin. And then the Juice, Jaden Ojeda.
Rusty, they're in pretty good shape as well. The Harold's Valenti Rosso crew from a pit stop time. And Jaden's co-driver, Ross Polakis, has been very effective this weekend, very quick in car 101. So keep an eye on them. They've traditionally been the Sunday specialists as well, the second half of this year's championship. It's been amazing how the two races, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, have very different feeling all across the course of the season. They've played out very, very differently. A lot of that comes down to the fact that the AM driver starts race 1 and finishes race 2 as a result of the regulation. So you really get that rubber band style effect at the early stages, the pros, and then it all concertinas up with the AMs, who have often got a slightly differing pace margin between them. But I love the way it's played out this year, and it's kept it very compelling. The fact that you've got 8 or 9 really good cars that on any given Sunday can be competitive for a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So this race is going to go right down to the wire, as you say, with the multiple sort of pit stop times that each car has. So there's a lot to unfold here as Ojeda begins to put a bit of pressure on the back of Garnett Patterson, running very closely behind as they head down the back straight. He gives the lights a bit of a flash, so he's just, I don't think Garnett needs to any more awareness that he's behind him, that's for sure.
You can certainly hear the bodywork as they come through turn 1, can't you, in these GT cars? When you're at the wheel of the Trans Am, how pronounced are the bumps through one there?
Yeah, well, Queensland Raceway, it's a good point, Rusty. It's always been, I guess, characterised by some pretty big bumps into especially turn 1, but also turn 3. So you definitely feel it, and especially in these GT3 cars that, as Fabian alluded to at the top of the race, they're very low to the ground. They've got a flat floor, but you need to run the cars low to the ground for that flat floor to achieve the grip through the corners. So you can see the car's really bouncing around on the way into turn 1. So as a driver, you've just sort of got to grab it by the scruff of the neck and bear with it.
Said that with a smile, Rusty.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a hardship. It sounds like great fun. Up and down weekend for you so far. Sometimes you're the windscreen in this sport, sometimes you're the bug. You were both of it in the last race today.
Yeah, we certainly were the bug at the start of the race, and yeah, got back to 4th, which was a reasonable fight back, but sort of felt like we gave another Another W away there, but that's motor racing sometimes.
You were within a whisker of a podium too, had that race not finished that way. And you are all suited up here in the commentary box with us. I know safety's important when it comes to visiting the com box, but you are going racing again very soon.
I've gone over the top, haven't I?
So Whincup 0.9. So Max Hoffa has just maintained that lead margin. I should say Whincup's maintained the lead margin. Hoffa unable to pull it in any further. Tander 3.9 seconds down the road in third in the Shannon's car. Then back to Brock Feeney in fourth place in car 888. So a really aggressive start for the Fiend, and he has got himself in a really good position. They've got quite a short pit stop as well, just the 98 seconds from pit in to pit out for car 888. Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim to jump on board there. Garnet Patterson in fifth. Jaden Ojeda in sixth place. Then Brett Hobson running quite strongly in seventh. First of the two Garth Walden cars. Paul Stokel in car 23 is eighth. And Josh Hunt up tonight, up a spot. Garth Walden in car 45, rounding out the top 10.
You ran with Renee Gracie there just a moment ago in car 181. 14th outright in this race, but as Richard said at the top of the race, champion-elect, an Australian title coming her way after that result yesterday, and a great reflection of the season that she's had in this class. And I know she's had aspirations, Rich, about maybe doing other things, but a few people talking like she might try and do a bit more of this style of racing. It'd be amazing to kind of see perhaps a Bathurst 12-hour tilt or something along those lines.
Well, it'd make the most sense, and the beauty of driving GT3 cars, Rusty, is that you drive a car here, you can drive an identical race car pretty much anywhere in the world. It's almost exactly the same as Super Cheap Auto TCR. The global TCR formula was modelled on the success of GT3 cars. So customer racing, you can drive the same car here that you can race in the United States or across in Europe. Liam Talbot watches his gun co-driver on. And Garth Tander's actually under a little bit of heat here from young Brock Feeney. So, former teammates, 888 Race Engineering. I saw Garth took a little bit of a swipe at his former boss earlier this morning, which I'm sure he thoroughly enjoyed. But now on track, having a good battle with young Brock, who's been just a superstar of our sport since bursting onto the scene in Super 3 racing in 2019 when he won the championship there.
Oh, but never throw a grenade in the press in an interview, would he?
Doesn't sound like GT at all. But not only is it the battle between Garth and Feeney tightening up, but also Maxi Hoffa has ranged right up onto the back of Whincup. It was only a lap or so ago that Jamie was out to a little over a second, but this gap for the lead is now down to 3/10. So Hoffa really starting to apply some pressure to the back of Whincup.
The Audi a little bit kinder on its tyres over a stint length in GT3 racing traditionally. The Merc is a heavier car, big front engine, rear drives, traditional Aussie style layout as opposed to the big German GT car. The Audi relies a bit more on the aero. It's a lighter car. You see the rear wing element moving around over the bumps at turn one, but traditionally the Audis do look after the Pirellis just a little bit better. A little lighter race car.
I always find that fascinating, the wobble of the rear wing, Rich. You know, all these engineers and always talking about aero efficiency and bits and pieces. And it blows my mind that they are happy with the way that those wings move around, but clearly it doesn't affect too much performance, otherwise they would have come up with a solution. But we saw Whincup with a big slide through the middle of turn 3, so the rear tyres maybe starting to go on the 88 AMG GT3.
And Hoffa flashing the lights immediately. So he wants to clear the 88 car, and he's doing everything he can to kind of intimidate in this process here. Deep under brakes for the Audi.
And this is GT3 racing at its finest, and it exemplifies what this category is all about, with different types of car and different philosophies of producing speed, doing exactly the same lap time. Fabian.
I'm down here with Jeff Emery, teammates with Max Hoffa. That car looks like it's got a lot of pace in it.
Yeah, definitely. The Hoff certainly knows how to hustle it, that's for sure. He's going really well.
It's a great start. Obviously, you're a little bit further back, but you're closing the gap.
Yeah, we are closing the gap now. Obviously, our 15-second success penalty is going to hurt us at the top, but everyone's got to deal with it at some point, so I guess we'll deal with it today.
At least you've got car speed. That's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely got car speed there. I mean, it looks like he's closing on the back of Whincup at the moment, so if we can get past Whincup and sort of make a bit of a gap, that'll make it a bit easier for me, I hope.
All right, well, good luck for the rest of the race.
No, it's all. Thanks, bud. Cheers.
The Hoff, I love it. Is that patented?
It is now. And Jeff, has won 3 championships in these cars, 2017, 18, 19. He knows how to get the most out of an Audi R8 LMS. He'll back himself in, even with that 15 seconds at the end, with the pit stop that he needs to serve. He will still back himself in to get a result at the end against his contemporary drivers in the AM ranks.
He's been impressive in this style of racing. I think, you know, you in particular have detailed his CV and some of the other calls we've done throughout the year, but in these kind of cars, did a little bit of Porsche racing as well, but just such a solid operator, Jeff, and as you rightly point out, a number of trophies in this class of racing in the cabinet.
I also remember years gone by, Rich, Jeff being very successful in Commodore Cup.
What a category. That genuinely one of the best one-main categories Australia's ever had. 253 powered VH and VS Commodores. He was 5 chaps.
See a little twinkle in your eye there, Richie.
You're preaching to the converted there when you bring up Commodore Cup with me. They're 5-time champion in that, but successful in Pro-Am racing in Carrera Cup, 3-time champion here. A couple of seasons in Development Series, Super 2 in the main game, and V8's he's got a Bathurst 1000.
Yeah, I remember that now.
This guy is a seriously well-credentialed AM driver, and I use that in inverted commas. He's only an AM because he doesn't do it for a profession. It's his game of golf on the weekend, but man, he's good.
Back to a little snapshot of the fight between Whincup and Hoffer, just as they disappeared underneath our shot on high there from the scissor lift. It's 0.45 between them. There's Garnett Patterson coming through in the Porsche, backed by the bend. One of the owners in Yasser Shahin will steer this car to the end of the race. It's a flip in terms of what you see on Saturday from Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, where the pros bring it home. Today they start the race, and it's the AMs that will race to the finish, with some differences in pit stops to come. Having reviewed yesterday's result, it's one of the balancing measures that they have in this class, and it should be thoroughly fascinating, that final half hour.
Garnett's a great story, Rusty. Young guy who raced open wheelers here, drove for his little family team. They're from about 45 minutes away from Tamworth in country New South Wales. Grew up in a small town. They went karting on their own, went Formula 3 racing on their own in New South Wales, and then contested the Australian Drivers' Championship in 2014, had some success, won their class that year in an older model car, and then disappeared because he went overseas to race and raced some overwheelers overseas and some sports cars. He's linked up with United Autosport, has driven for that great team owned by Zach Brown and the racer Richard Dean, very successfully in LMP3 and LMP2 cars, and continues to have a relationship with that squad, but came back to Australia this year to link up with the EMA Motorsport, joining with Yasser Shahin. He's done a lot of driver training and coaching with Yasser, spends a lot of time at the bend. In fact, I think he's got one of the better gigs because Yasser's got a couple of Formula Renault 3.5 V8s, which are probably the quickest racing cars in the country.
Yeah, they need miles, Richard. They need to be kept warm and looked after, don't they?
Young Garnett gets a tap on the shoulder and go, okay, mate, you go out and do some 1 minute 30 laps at tail and bend. So 3.9 G through the fast corners there, he tells me.
Wow,
yeah.
That sounds like a terrible gig.
Doesn't it?
James Moffat's just dialing Yasser Shahin's number as we speak.
Now, Max Hoffer's getting a little frustrated here, isn't he? We kind of saw the way the car came through turn 2 before going just fractionally beyond the limits of the ripple strip, kicking up a little bit of dust and dirt and so on, but he's not able to clear Whincup at this stage, who has the quickest lap of the race, a 1 minute 8.96. Whincup continues to lead from Hoffer. Half a second is the margin. Then you drift back to Garth Tander there in third. That car will be handed over to Liam Talbot, who we saw in the pit lane there before, and Feeney right. There you go. Feeney just, what are we talking, 1 second behind Tander now in fourth place.
Yeah, so right now from a pit stop point of view, and the window will open soon, car 65's looking in really good shape because Garth's been able to just stay within striking distance, 3.5 seconds of those two race leaders, and he's got 5 seconds shorter in a pit stop time to Jamie Whincup. So right now Garth is 3.6 seconds behind the race leader. So in that result, with some dodgy maths, and it'll be about 1.4 seconds in front in theory, all going to plan. The other one to get some gain out of this is going to be Jaden Ojeda back in 6th place because they've got a very short pit stop in that Valencia Rosso Mercedes AMG GT3. Chris Stubbs.
Thank you, Richard. Cryle Yasser Shahin is alongside me. Garnet Patterson is out in the car just talking about what a great life Garnet has driving your cars there at the bend. But in terms of how this race is playing out, we know you've got the extra time in the stop. How's it coming to you so far?
Yeah, look, bit of extra time, bit of extra weight. I think it'll be okay. The car's a real handful, which makes it both interesting and challenging. I think we've got our backs to the wall a bit today, but we'll do our best like yesterday.
Yeah, so this Porsche that you've brought on this year, how's it coming? How's the development? How you're finding it? It looks like you're making incremental steps.
Yeah, I feel like at every track we've been to, we are performing in the race like we should have been performing in qualifying. We just feel like we're always better racers than we are qualifiers, and it's just been chasing our tail a bit. I think if you've got a few years to dial a car in, some history, a few other cars, that makes life easier. But hey, we're doing our best.
Good job, mate. All the best.
Cheers.
I'm down here with Matt Stupas. Paul Stokell at the wheel. You guys are leading AM at the moment. Got a great start.
Yeah, listen, he got a great start. We were quite unsure because obviously we struggled with the car yesterday, whereas today seems to be doing good things. So hopefully when it's my turn, I can sort of keep it going where it's meant to be.
Yeah, well, like I say, at the moment it's looking like it's all going well. So hopefully you can continue that form.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you know, it's the pit stop penalties, which will bring us back, but it just means I've got a little bit of work to do. Brad Schumacher will sort of probably just be in front of me, but if I can sort of come home behind him, that'll be good. That'll be a good place to finish.
All the best for the rest of the afternoon.
Thanks, mate. Good. Thank you.
I think we're out of a job. He was addressing the camera and everything there, wasn't he? He's got it all sorted. Well done. And speaking of, there's the car on screen for you at the moment with Paul Stokell. I think Richard talked yesterday during the call about the diverse success that Paul Stokell has enjoyed, and I've got very fond memories of him at the wheel of Formula Brabham or Holden's, Australian Drivers' Champion and more, and a great pair of hands to learn from for that outfit.
I've got a sneaking suspicion, and this is from the Weird Facts file. I reckon he is still the outright lap record holder at Nullarbor Motorsport Park in a Barana Racing Reynard.
Well,
I'm going to say 91D.
If anyone is going to know the stats on Nullarbor Motorsport Park, it is the mayor himself, Richard Cryle. So, sneaky suspicion, I don't think so.
I also think he's the copyright holder of, what is it? The Weird Motorsport Facts file. That's excellent. Excellent.
Hashtag Speedseries AU, if I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be told straight away as we jump on board with Renee Gracie. 16th place at the moment, still leading the trophy class. So, pit stop window not far from opening now, and we'll start to see this race play out. Let's jump on board. I'll tell you what, why don't you crank it up? We're going to ride on board with Renee Gracie for 3.2 Ks of Queensland Raceway. Listen to the V10 sing.
Down to about 76k an hour through turn 6, and then you work up to nearly 230 kilometres an hour as they come across the start-finish line here at Queensland Raceway. Currently position 16, but with a name provisionally on that Australian title. Great season for Renee Gracie in her class, and our cameraman immediately switches back to pick up what's happening at the very front of the field. So it's 0.7 between Jamie Whincup and Max Hoffa here as we approach the pit stop window.
I tell you what, Maxi Hoffa is wringing the neck of that Audi R3. We both sort of jumped back from the screen there at the exit of turn 1. He is using absolutely all the road and a little bit more on some occasions. He'll also be suffering from what we call aero wash or aero understeer. So because when you're following the car behind, following the car in front, you lose a little bit of air off the front of your car, so of your front tyres effectively, so they don't turn as efficiently as if, you know, Jamie has all clean air on the front of his car. So that's what Max Hoffa is sort of dealing with as well. These cars, like we've detailed, have plenty of aerodynamic effects. So the closer that you get, the more effect that aero wash has.
Just saw Liam Talbot kind of doing a few little arm movements there, warming up. Are there little things that you do when you're getting set to jump behind the wheel, even if it's maybe just quiet?
At turn 1, Moff was talking about that a lap ago, about how hard he was pushing through the high-speed stuff, and just a little bit too hard there.
Yeah, so back to your question, Rusty. I think every driver replay now, and yeah, just he's been flirting with that for the last few laps and finally stepped over the edge. So hopefully for those guys in the 75 Melbourne Performance Centre Audi, he hasn't picked up a puncture or anything like that. That's the big risk about running off track in that sort of circumstance, but visually looks like no damage. The other thing is you can damage the under tray on these cars because they are so low to the ground, but another puff of dust on the exit of turn, I should say, on the exit of turn 5, so he's still pushing on.
Here we go, and he's into, that's Renee, I think, coming into the lane, was it? Or Renee Gracie into pit lane. So our top 4 continue on, but some pit stop activity, some pit lane activity about to happen. So Chris Stubbs and Fabian Coulthard there for our coverage, so we'll bring you some updates as they unfold.
And they'll generally run a little bit longer in this race, in the 10-minute pit window, than they will in race 1. You maximise having your pro driver in the car go as fast as you can for as long as you can, basically, is the philosophy. So Renee in to do her compulsory stop, 98 seconds, the minimum pit stop time for all competitors, and then there's 5, 10 or 15 seconds of success penalty added to that. So rather than adding weight to a car or success ballast or things like that, it's done in pit stop time. The weight gets added when you talk about balance of performance, which is the series of technical changes that each car has to moderate the performance between the Audi, Mercedes-AMG and Porsche here in Australia and all the other cars around the world. Here's Brad Schumacher in, and you actually made a good point before, Moff, that he started 4th and then tumbled down the order. We actually quite understand why that's occurred, but dropped outside the top 10 now, M-Class Championship leader.
Yeah, so we saw him have an incident in yesterday's race, sustained a little bit of damage to the left-hand side of his car, but clearly nothing too serious lingering in terms of damage because he did qualify on the 2nd row. So maybe he just got pushed around a bit on the first lap. We saw Max Hoffa and Garth Tander going at it hammer and tongs, so maybe he just was on the wrong end of their battle. But yeah, unusual to see Brad sort of slip that far down the order. He's obviously against all the professional drivers out there at the moment. Saw one of his crew members dive in the passenger side and replace the drink bottle there, so that's just an indication of how hard these drivers are working in these hot Queensland conditions.
That might actually be a question for one of our team in the lane to maybe track down perhaps a Brett Bull or someone like that working with the Brad Schumacher operation, and just see if we can clarify that. Was there some sort of issue that's put the Fuchs entry a little on the back foot?
Saw a shot of Troy Russell with the headset on, was on the radio to Ash Samadhi. Troy's the boss at Audi Customer Sport Racing Australia.
Should thank them too. They've given us a little bit of data across, and they've got about 30 staff here working this weekend across the cars in both TCR and significantly in GT World Challenge here. And they've given us just some indication of speeds and gears and braking performance and so on, particularly from the Talbot Tanda car, which will sprinkle throughout the race for you.
They have got an incredible HQ. Melbourne's in the southeastern suburbs, sort of Motorsport Valley down that way near Dandenong, and just an incredible setup with a fleet of Audi R8s, the TCR program there, just expanded into Carrera Cup as well. Troy and Lee and all the team. Trent, who's the crew chief, run a really sharp outfit, always very competitive in GT3 racing wherever they go, but he's sort of workshop stuff of dreams kind of setup they've got down there at MPC.
So guys, as pit stops are imminent, we spoke about it earlier, that gap from Whincup to Tanda is 4.4 seconds, so we believe Tanda has about a 5-second buffer in the pit lane, less pit stop time than the 88 car, so this is going to go right down to the wire come the pit stops. Whincup obviously pushing. He'll know what's at play, as will Garth. So those two will be leaving nothing out there, and it'll come down to who's most efficient in pit lane.
Yeah, 4.6 Whincup to Tanda. So it is going to be line ball. Ojeda is pressing on in car 101. He's just set a green sector, which is the personal best for the car and driver for the race. And generally that indicates they'll probably pit this lap. So maximise your in and out laps. So I wonder if we'll see the Harold Racing Valenti Rosso team. So they're 10 seconds now off the race lead, but they've only got a 98-second stop. And the timing is done from pit entry to pit exit. It's the entire transit time. That's a shot of the Valmont Racing team. Tigana Autosport run this car. Sergio Perez and Marcel Zalua, they've been mates and business partners for years in Sydney suburbs. Valmont is their business, outfitters and suppliers. Marcel's first time here at Queensland Raceway, never raced here before. And no, it's not Sergio, the F1 driver.
Jaden Ojeda turning up the wick a little bit too. A personal best lap from him, a 1:09.53 as we edge, as Moff said, toward that pit stop for the front running cars. Out of 3, they work up to the centre of the track here, 222 kilometres an hour, and then just by the time they brake here and get it squared for the left-hander, they're back down to just under 100 k's an hour.
Just to put a full stop, gents, on the conversation we're having about Brad Schumacher. The sleuths have been at work. Hello to Brad Gordon of the Shakedown Racing Fraternity, one of the great GT forums on the internet, amazing community of sports car racing fans. Suggested that Brad just got wide through that first couple of corners, as you insinuated, Moff, and just sort of the hip and shoulder and ended up tumbling down the field and just didn't get the track position in those early stages of the race. And it can be tough when you're stuck down the back end of the field here to work your way forward. With contact. Now, is that Josh Hunt in the 102 Valenti Rosso car? A little bit of contact on Ash Samadi through turn 5.
What's your take on that, Moff?
Yeah, front to rear contact. Sort of just looked like Josh might have been pretty eager to get Ash out of the way. And he was pretty successful.
Now, I shared a funny story very quickly this morning in the qualifying session. The guys at NPC have been staying at the same hotel, I think, as the New Zealand netball team. And the 2 engineers, one on the Tanda Talbot car and the other on the Hoffa Jeff Emery car, were all together, and a bit of nice competitive rivalry stuff. And when the doors opened, some of the New Zealand netball team were in there, and they said, "Oh, we're only taking winners." So Hoffa and Emery were allowed in, Tanda and Talbot weren't after race 1 yesterday. So a lot of the competitive stuff happening within the team there as well, and some very, very good engineering talent spread across NPC.
Your local netball team? New Zealand netball team?
I think it was the
home team.
I go every Saturday when I'm not racing, Richard, the daughters play.
Sure.
So, 0.4 as we run down. For the record, I'm a proud Australian. Just let the record state.
We're not far away from a stop, and these 2 leaders. So Hoffa's back to the rear wing of the Johor Motor Racing 888 number 88 car. Tanda still within 5 seconds of the 2 leaders. Feeney 1.7 further back. So they'll have to stop this time by, otherwise it's going to be very, very close to get around again. So they've only got that 10-minute window to complete the pit stops. So 35 minutes into the race, the pit window closes.
Stokel's in. He's brought the KFC entry. Oh, wow.
Oh, gee, they both got to Brad Schumacher right at the point where they wanted to commit to getting into pit lane.
Maxie's right on Jamie's bumper as they come into the lane here.
Well, this is the race. This is, all of them are in the lane right at the very end of the compulsory pit stop window. So we're going to get a really clear indication of who's where at the end of this. There's no overcuts or undercuts in this race.
Prince is about to jump aboard the 888 Johor Racing entry. Out jumps Garth Tander, Liam Talbot in that Shannon's race suit about to get in.
That's Abu Bakar Ibrahim jumping in the 88 car after a brilliant opening stint from Jamie Whincup.
Boo, as they affectionately call him. Gee, he was great in qualifying today, wasn't he? That was a real statement on how he's developed as a racing driver. We know he's got raw speed. We've sensed that really since about the Bathurst 6 Hour last year, but he's just coming on in leaps and bounds with this crew. And Prince Jeffrey in the sister car, his brother, who's such a methodical racer, incredibly committed to his training, to learning as much as he can about this sport. And what 888 are doing in combination with their program in Asia is just world-class, Crailsy, isn't it? Very good outfit, as you'd expect.
And the important thing, and James, you've worked with AM drivers before and driver coaching, as they leave the lane. Look at that, all locked together. So the two 888 cars, so there's a little bit of gain from the Shannon's Insurance Audi R8. We're still yet to see where the 75 of Max Hoffa comes out, but we fully expect them to be behind this because they had a longer pit stop time. So this will be the race-leading battle. Now, there's a bit of gain for Ross Polakis in that as well. He's going to be net fourth in the Harold's racing car. So Emery out just behind them, the car that Max Hoffa drove so aggressively. So upper spot car 75, also upper spot car 888. Jeffrey Ibrahim now behind the wheel of that Mercedes AMG. So 888 1 and 3, the Audi in the middle, and then look at the red and black Mercedes AMG of Ross Polakis, who's now up a couple of spots to fourth. Emery's down a few, and Shaheen lost a spot through the pit stop shuffle as well. What's the set up brilliantly?
I was going to say, what's the kind of messages we send to our AM drivers in those moments from those that are on the radio and looking after them?
Well, I think critically from yesterday we saw the likes of 888, both their cars, they took tyres in the pit stop. We saw no activity of guys changing tyres in. So these AM drivers, I don't want to call them amateurs, but they've stepped into the cars, they're still on warm tyres. So that's really going to help them get up to speed quicker on this outlap. And we can see that the 88 car, he's actually bolted on his outlap. So that gap has certainly increased back to Talbot on this opening lap. Liam still just warming up his tyres, getting a bit of a feel. Even though they are warm, he'll just be searching for the grip that he's got available. But yeah, some real big, I guess, winners and losers in this pit stop cycle. But the main winner was the car that was leading the race, is still in front, the 88.
3.5 seconds. There you go. That shows you the margin. Boo has bolted here over Liam Talbot. Let's, in the meantime, get an update from the lane, Fabian.
Max Hoffa, first corner 1 and 2, looked a little bit interesting with Garth.
Yeah, that's racing. I mean, it was hard fight, especially into turn 1. I was next to him. Maybe he didn't see me. We banked wheels and then, yeah, went into turn 2 side by side till turn 3, which was, yeah, I think for the spectators, good action.
Yeah, no, it was great from our seat, that's for sure. But looked like the car's got a lot of pace, not quite enough to get past though.
Yeah, like this track is hard to pass, especially in GT3s because of dirty air. So always in turn 1 and 2, I lost quite a bit of gap to Whincup. So I then tried to catch up, but never got the chance to make the move.
Well, at least you got Jeff Emery in the car now. Hopefully he can do a good job of getting to the finish.
Yeah, we are going for the championship, so we need each point.
Good luck. Thank you. All right, I'm just seeing if I can see Garth, which he is just here.
Hey, bro.
Hello, mate.
Yeah, bro. Hang on.
Garth Tander, interesting first couple of corners with Max.
Yeah, I would have done the same. So I was half expecting it. Like, didn't quite nail the launch when the green light came on. So I ended up probably a bit. I wanted to be in front of Jamie as it turned in because I'd rather be side by side with Jamie than side by side with Max.
It made great TV, but obviously the pit stop was important. Liam got a good jump out onto the lane.
Yeah, well, we knew yesterday that after yesterday's drop that we didn't have any time penalties at the pit stop, so we just had to sort of keep that gap to the first two. So we managed to do that. 88 still in front of us. I'm not sure how they did that, but we'll look at that after. But Liam's in a good spot. Like, he's been the fastest AM driver all weekend, so it'll be an interesting finish.
Good luck for the rest of the day.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Just joined by Jamie Whincup, Garth Tander there saying, not sure how you guys managed to do that and still come out in front. That was a great stint. Talk us through it.
Thank you. Yeah, the car was very, very good. Clean air is always nice in motorsport. So I got out there, went hard. Max is pushing me hard. He's an Audi pro out from Europe. He drives these cars all the time. So he would certainly keep me honest. I was just trying to concentrate on my job. But the race is with Garth. We just had to get 5 seconds up the road. And it was touch and go. The guys were saying you're right on the money. So pushed hard all the way into the pit lane. And we just got out in front. So Boo's been doing a cracking job. Don't want to put the mic right in. But hopefully he just does a solid job and we end up on the podium.
He's been doing that so far all weekend, so fingers crossed for you for the rest of it.
Yeah, thanks, Dubsy. Cheers.
Bounce on just over the side here is Brock Feeney. And Brock, we'll see if we can get your read on the stint and how you're placed as this one comes to you.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild start. I think I had 3 cars in the first lap, which was good, made life a bit easier. But yeah, just cooked my tyres following Garth. So yeah, we'll see how Jeffrey goes. We're in 3rd at the moment, so pretty good from where we started, but still just lacking that little bit of pace to the front guys. So we'll see how we go.
Where is the differential in pace for the Merc compared to the others out there in these conditions?
Yeah, it's quite different, taking different lines and all that sort of stuff. So we gain in some areas. I was just quicker at the start, but Garth was obviously much stronger towards the end. But they're quite quick down the straight, which makes it quite difficult to pass. So you could get through 1 and 2 a bit better, but wasn't close enough at 3.
Hey, Brock, how are you enjoying watching Will Brown this weekend?
He's been winning.
You like winners?
I like winning myself.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Like a pro, he's handled it well done. Brock Feeney, flat bat.
You can't tell he drives a Triple Eight, can you?
I saw his mum this morning. His dad, very well known in the Australian motorcycle racing community and a bit of a legend in his own right, raced at Bathurst back in the day. It was his birthday on Friday, but you don't have to look too far within that operation to find people that will tell you that in just about anything, whether it's GT cars or supercars, the job that Brock Feeney is doing at the moment, highly, highly impressive, and still only, we've got to remember, at the very beginnings of what we hope will be a great career. And he did well then in a press sense, so good job, mate.
I thoroughly enjoyed the chat with Garth Tander there as well. I'd much rather race Jamie Whincup than Max Hoffer, and ultimately had to settle with Hoffer, and a little bit of paint exchange between the two of them. But
I did like the attempt by the crew member to tape up the little patch over the Penrite logo above on his chest, a small one, forgetting about the big giant one in the middle of his chest as well. But anyway. All props.
There is a requirement that they have to have the series logo, the Fanatec logo, on their race suit. And it was on there for about 2 seconds. So, well, it was Trent, who's the team boss, or team coordinator, team manager, I suppose, down there at Melbourne Performance Centre. So, look, valiant effort. They tried. But, nice work. Good to see GT enjoying himself. I think we're going to enjoy ourselves as well, because we are building to a battle for the race lead. Liam Talbot is catching Abu Ibrahim. Margin exactly a second between the AMG Mercedes and the very, very fast Shannon's Insurance Audi. Jeffrey Ibrahim back in 3rd place, 9.5 from the race lead. Ross Polakis not quite catching the second Triple Eight car, but certainly running with him, matching lap times in 3rd and 4th. And then Jeff Emery, such a good day yesterday with Max Hoffer running out the top 5.
Yeah, I think you're spot on the money there, Richard. I think Liam, perhaps with the championship in the back of his mind, was maybe ultra cautious on his outlap, just wanted to really play himself in and feel what he's got underneath him in terms of grip before he started attacking. But certainly over the last several laps, he's been the best part of half a second quicker than Ibrahim in front of him, and that gap, which was out to 3.5 seconds, is now down to less than a second. So Talbot is certainly feeling comfortable behind the wheel and can see that Mercedes AMG getting larger in front of him.
Let's take it to pit lane. Here's Chris Stubbs.
Patterson Yasser out in the car at the moment. How was the stint for you?
Yeah, it was a bit going on at the start there. I thought the two Audi boys, it was the last lap of the Nürburgring 24 hours. So I was kind of hoping that it'll all happen in front and we pick up the pieces, but yeah, it didn't happen. So yeah, just sort of try to conserve the tyre and hopefully Yasser can have a good run home. It's just so hard, as you know, with a pit stop time to make up 15 seconds or 10 seconds at a short track like this. It's so tight.
If anyone can do it, it's Yasser. You know, I've got a good AM in the car at the moment. How many do you reckon he can peel off here?
Oh, it's going to be hard from there, I think, 10 seconds. Well, we're obviously praying for a safety car or something like that, but you just got to roll the dice, hope the tyre strategy. We went 2 on the left side then, so they always take a while to come in, but hopefully if you get a safety car at the end of the race, you have a strong car.
And boys, you were talking about his favourite car before at the bend that he gets to steer. It was a Formula Renault, right?
Oh, for sure. It's a proper race car. Yeah. Thanks, mate.
There you go.
Jada, currently sitting P4. How was that stint for you?
Yeah, start was pretty wild. Always a bit difficult when you're on the left-hand side, outside into turn 1 here, and sort of knew I had to get a move done on the Porsche quite early before everything heated up, but it's just so quick in the straight lines at the moment. The BOP is a bit favourable, but you race with what you've got, and once the heat soak sort of set in, it made it quite hard.
Yeah, it looks super hard to follow, and once you're stuck there, it looks like you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, you know, you've got to really push quite hard at the start whilst everything's still kind of fresh and cold, but once it sort of sets in, it's a little bit of follow the leader, but nonetheless, still good.
Good luck for this afternoon.
Thank you.
It's timely that we went to Jaden Ojeda there then, because Jeff Emery is closing. He is 0.4 away from Ross Palakis. There you go. You can see it on screen. So that is for position. They are chasing position 4 in the Emery J-Mac entry, and then just ahead of them is Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim in 3rd place. So can Jeff Emery grab a podium here?
From a championship point of view, he needs to maximise his point score. We'll have to have a 3-way fight for the final step on the podium in this race. And meanwhile, out in front, we've got a battle for the lead going on as well. So this one far from over with 12 minutes to go. Classic GT3 racing at Queensland Raceway. It's funny, this place, you would never put this on the list of circuits where you go, yep, this will be perfectly suited to GT3 cars. These cars are used to those quick, high-speed, fast-flowing European circuits, or European-style circuits like Phillip Island, like Mount Panorama. But every year we bring the Fanatec GT World Challenge to Queensland Raceway.
That's good.
It turns up really good stuff. Yeah, it's quite funny how it works out, but it produces great motorsport.
To your point, an energised Liam Talbot, 0.3 behind Abu Ibrahim as we run down toward turn 3.
Great run out of turn 2, but they just had to negotiate some lap traffic there, another Mercedes AMG, so he wasn't able to make a move, but he's still got time. Haven't seen if the family's here this weekend. Charlie and the 2 girls are supporting. They are. Thumbs up that they are here, we're being told, so they'll be cheering Liam on. Always big supporters of Liam's racing. He's so passionate, not just about his motorsport, but the car business and cars in general. He's got a couple of cool cars in the garage. The thing I like, he races an Audi GT3 car and he's got a Porsche as well, but I like the fact that one of his favourite cars is a big V8 GTS HSV. I think he's got a Monaro in the shed, so
proper car guy.
I love that.
Yep.
He's a great dude, Liam. Very passionate about his racing, and a very, very good semi-professional driver.
Agreed.
One of the best in Australia. I'm sure Fraser Ross is watching on, had some other commitments this weekend. I'm able to get behind the wheel of the Shannon's car. Not a bad super sub when you can tap Garth Tanner on the shoulder and say, hey mate, you want to come and have a little bit of a skid in an Audi R8 for a weekend.
Just over 10 minutes remaining in this race, which is where we used before was energised, because Talbot's looking good here, family here supporting him.
There'll be a move at some point, Rusty. I'm sure there will. Let's see what Abu Ibrahim's got from a defensive point of view to see if he can hold on.
Traffic too.
Well, and that could play a role. It's been a big part in GT3 racing over the last couple of rounds in this championship, where getting to the lap cars has played a role in how the lead battle plays out.
Need to say a thank you as well to James Moffat, who's had to go. He's in race driver mode. We've got Trans Am coming your way in our coverage live here this afternoon on Stan Sport, and we'll wrap it up with TCR as well, so don't leave whatever you do. This is a good reason to stick around.
They're caught up behind the Mark Cars Australia entry through turn 1 and turn 2. So the GT3 cars carry much more aero. They're quicker through the slow corners and the fast than the Mark cars. So just a little hesitation there from Abu Ibrahim. See the Mustang-bodied car, Aussie-built, engineered and designed by Mark Cars Australia, just in front. The Merc needs to clear him quickly because this could be the opportunity Liam Talbot needs to strike. Ibrahim goes one way. There's almost contact between them. And now Talbot right up under the rear wing. Is there space to get down the inside at 4? Oh, there's not, but it could be 5 because the door will be open. And then it's shut again. He was very wide through turn 4, Rusty, but he managed to get the thing across to the middle of the corner at 5 and holds on.
Grabbed a pole position, a popular pole position, a breakthrough one for Abu Ibrahim today. If he can resist this pressure from Liam Talbot, this will be another step, a real making for Boo in terms of his race driving in this part of the world. 0.2 between them. We've got 8 minutes left in this race.
They've been having a really good run in GT World Challenge Asia, the 888 squad. They run a pair of Mercedes AMGs up there. They've had a lot of success, a couple of rounds in Japan and across Asia recently where they've been on the podium consistently. So they're sharp, they're up to speed. Same style of racing, same cars, just different locations. Wow, he sent it. What's he in turn 3? Jeff Emery's got past Jeffrey Ibrahim for 3rd as well. So valuable championship points for the 3-time champ for Jamek Racing, who's got himself to a potential podium position here.
Merck's really handy, isn't it? Through 2 and then down that back straight where it gets to stretch its legs. And then we see the Audi through the middle part of the lap start to make some inroads once again. But look at here, look how close he is here at 6. Watch the Mercedes AMG through the front window there. 7 minutes to go in this race.
Oh, big, this is huge. Is there room? Not quite. Wow, that was ambitious. That was very ambitious.
Showed the nose. How was it for those of you at home watching on Stan Sport? Riding with Liam Talbot live when he tried to fire it up the inside of Prince Abu Ibrahim in the Merc. This is for the race lead. Just over 6.5 minutes to go. Cracking battle this at the front of the field. Jeff Emery, meantime, has cleared Jeffrey Ibrahim and Ross Palakas. He's into 3rd in the 75.
Massive championship point gain for Jeff Emery. He wants a 4th GT title to his credit. If they finish the way they are, he'll win the weekend for Jamek Racing in the Audi. Oh, just catch your breath after that moment down there. Talbot, again, he's turned him round at turn 6. He came from a long way back and it's deposited car 88 in the sand. And there's almost no doubt in my mind, race control will not look favourably on that.
They'll be seething at 888.
He's rejoined the race in 2nd position. There's Jeff Emery. And Abu just moving side to side to make sure the car's okay.
Put yourself in Liam Talbot's shoes. What do you do now? Just get your head down and get on with it. What will race control do here with 5.5 minutes remaining in this race? How will it be viewed?
Another massive moment in the context of the championship. Liam Talbot looking to win the title. Jeff Emery on the charge. The 888 Mercs not in the title fight, but certainly a factor in the race, as they have been all weekend long. A big moment in a championship that has been defined by big moments in every round this year. And after this, just 2 races to go.
Need to have another look at that, don't we? Just to see. In fact, what do we? I think here we go. Replay. You asked. Here it is.
So Abu Ibrahim in front. He's not defended his line at all. And Talbot, gee, made contact with the Merc just behind the rear wheel of that car. And very, very lucky that the Mercedes wasn't stuck in the gravel trap and race over. Let's have a listen. So Talbot will argue that Ibrahim was wide turning into the corner and there was a car width up the inside, but still the contact happened well behind the rear wheel. Stubbsy?
Just down here at Triple A at the moment. Going to jump in, Roland Dave, just chatting to Jamie Whincup. I think I might know what the discussion was about. Your read on that one, Joe?
Yeah, I love racing, of course. Liam was a little bit late, and just got the side of car 88. So I'm expecting that to get readdressed after the race or during. So our race now is to try to stay ahead of Mr. Emery.
All right, thanks for that.
No worries, cheers.
So under 4 minutes to go. Do they at MPC have a conversation on this and heed what Jamie's saying, or will it be adjusted post-race if indeed that's what they decide, it would seem?
Just to add a sting into that tail, Jeff Emery now second.
There you go, 15 seconds. 15-second penalty for Liam Talbot. It's on our timing screen here, so he's 14.5 at the moment ahead of Emery, but significantly further up the road ahead of Prince Abu Ibrahim than that.
1 minute 15.7 for Abu last time by. That car has got no speed. So a 15-second time penalty for Liam Talbot. He's 14.5 seconds in front of Jeff Emery right now. He could still win this race. This is a big moment.
They'll be talking about this for a bit, won't they?
It's going to rumble on. The final round's not till late November as well. So plenty of time to debrief. Let's go further back. So Abu's come off the road at... Oh, and Ross Palaka spun as well. It's turn 1. So the Harold's Valente Rosso car fires across to the infield. How did all of that start, though? Because Palakis was behind both of those cars at that point. Wow, bit to unpick through that.
2 minutes left in this race. The margin 14.8 seconds last time by. So, okay, Triple Eight entry gets...
But Palakis was in front. Oh, look at that thing bouncing off the road. So I think this is unrelated because... was that Triple Eight that was off, or was it Abu Ibrahim that was off the road? To unpick all of that because I'm not sure if those events are connected or not. Minute 45 to go. We're running out of laps. Liam Talbot leads the race by 14.8 seconds. He's got a 15-second time penalty hanging over him.
So I wonder if Palakis corrects here, seeing what the... Just watching on...
I think that's Triple Eight. Yeah, it is. That's the Triple Eight car. So that's Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. So that's not Abu. That doesn't explain why Abu Ibrahim lost the position to Jeff Emery. That's an unconnected result of that position change a little bit further up.
Wonder if Palakis thought that the other car was going to fire back on, and he's corrected that car in the process. The rear stepped out.
15.6 seconds. 15.6 seconds. Liam Talbot may still win this race. Someone's off in turn 3, I think, as well. Dust everywhere at Queensland Raceway at the moment. The Shannon Dowdy is now in front by just enough to claim victory over Jeff Emery.
Who'll win the weekend. He and Hoffa will win the weekend. So great drive by Jeff Emery in the back end of this race, and didn't Hoffa absolutely give it his all? There was nothing left on the table in the first stint in the 75. But Talbot looks like doing it here. 15.6 seconds is the margin.
Should be the start of the final lap of this one. A dramatic, unpredictable Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia race that sums up the season. I just want to give a quick shout out to Brad Schumacher. We touched on his dramas earlier. He dropped right to the back of the field. Told a lap and a half to go, so there'll be one more lap after this one. Brad Schumacher started at the front, hit and shouldered out wide on the opening lap of the race, tumbled down well outside the top 10. He's recovered superbly, got himself to 7th position and back in front in the AM class. Driving solo, driver from Bathurst, lives within sight of the famous pit straight there on Mount Panorama. So really good drive back in front. A lot of this second half of the race, he's been the quickest guy on the racetrack, full stop.
And a little shout out to Mike Shigol, position 12 at the moment. We've covered that story across the weekend and what he's been doing to raise awareness, raise support for in his own battle with bowel cancer. So well done, Garth Walden Racing, P12 at the moment. We watch the Shannon's entry. We think this is the last lap. They should have the last lap board this time by. So Liam Talbot headed for home, 16.1 seconds in the pocket over Emery.
There'll be some fire after this one, Rusty, because Triple Eight will feel hard done by. They will feel like that penalty is not enough, despite the fact that Jeff Emery got past Prince Abu Ibrahim for second and third position after that incident occurred. And there's still not much pace aboard car 88 at the moment. It's 1.2, 1.3 seconds a lap slower than Jeff Emery, and he's dropped a long way behind the 75 Audi. So there's going to be some rumblings in the paddock after this one. As it is, Liam Talbot, despite the fact he's got 15 seconds penalty coming his way, he leads by 16.4. And this could end up being a clutch win from a championship point of view. There will be nothing to separate these two top Audi drivers on the final round in Adelaide in late November.
Lots to talk about after this race. Heading to the checkered flag is the Shannon's Insurance entry. Liam Talbot at the wheel takes the checker in the final one of the weekend. Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia. Emery about to come home. He'll claim the weekend in that J-Mac Audi. Great drive by Max Hoffa. Hoffa did everything he possibly could, and they maximised their points here at Queensland Raceway. Abu Ibrahim gets home in third, and I know we could sit here and go ifs, buts and maybes. Would it have been a win? But there's lots of positives for him this weekend, Rich, at QR.
Yeah, and that pole lap early was special. Really impressive stuff to get the Pirelli Pole Award early on in qualifying today. What a race, dramatic stuff. Brad Schumacher just in behind the blue Audi there. He's going to get the win in the AM class. Well done, Brad. Great comeback drive in the Fuchs Audi for Schumacher Motorsport. Well, what a race. Tell you what, if you joined us halfway through that one, it exploded at the end. 16.8 seconds the final margin. That will end up being about 1.8 seconds with a 15-second penalty coming the way of Liam Talbot. Emery and Hoffa next. Ibrahim Whincup in third. Rounding out the podium, Palakis and Ojeda, despite that spin to fourth. Ibrahim Feeney home in fifth. AM class goes to Schumacher. Taunton wins the invitational class for Mark Cars Australia in the brand new Mark GT. Cool looking race car, that. And the trophy class goes the way of Renee Gracie, who wraps up the championship this weekend as well. Title battle all to play for though in Fanatec GT World Challenge. What a race. How dramatic can you make it? And Liam Talbot will still hold on to win the race. Contact with the 88 888 Mercedes as the cars roll into Speed Cafe Victory Lane. Just 17 minutes and 50 seconds until the final race in the Trans Am Series. James Moffat jumped out of the commentary box, race suit on to jump into the Valvoline Mustang for that race. He'll be in action. And then the final race for Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia Series. They're off to Sandown in a couple of weeks. And then the two big internationals at the end of the year. Just over an hour until we see those cars on track. So they're down to Speed Cafe Victory Lane. Jeff Emery second. Really impressive drive from he, set up by Max Hoffa, who put the pressure on the leading Mercedes all the way through at the start of that race. Liam celebrating with his crew. The final victory margin will be 1.8 seconds. And there is Abu Ibrahim in the Johor Motor Racing 888 Mercedes AMG. Ends up third in that one. Passed by Jeff Emery late in the race. There's Garth Tander. Well, he did what he came here to do, which was to help his driver, Liam Talbot, get on top of the podium, and he has done the business this weekend. Let's go and celebrate in Speed Cafe Victory Lane. Here's Chris Stubbs.
Yeah, a little subdued as you would expect. The celebrations for third place here for Triple Eight. Boo, talk us through the moment there with Liam Talbot, your reaction.
Yeah, I mean, he had more pace than me at the end of the race. Yeah, and then I had a few moments, but it's part of racing anyways.
He copped 15 seconds. That was the penalty that was given to him. That's sufficient, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's up to the stewards, but I think 50 seconds makes sense.
Congratulations on a great weekend. The pole early today, your driving has been outstanding. You must be super happy.
Thank you. Yeah, happy.
Well done. So we move on down to second. Hugs all round there for Jeff Emery, getting a bit of an embrace there. The supporters are loving it, and we're loving the effort from you too. Jeff, first of all, I'll start with you. Congratulations. A nice little drive there at the end, getting past Boo too.
Yeah, it was getting quite busy at the end there. Everyone was sliding around everywhere. I reckon everyone was running out of tyres, and I think our car was just coming on, so it was really good to drive. I was really enjoying the end of that race.
And the effort of this man?
Oh, it's unbelievable. He's a freak.
Max, you're loving it. Congratulations, another podium.
Yeah, thank you. I think we can be happy with how it went. We were kind of lucky, but sometimes you need the luck, and yeah, we can be proud of.
Max, you make your own luck in this world. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on down to our winners. They are celebrating. They got the big #1 up to the cameras because it's another win for Liam Talbot. Liam, congratulations. We better start with the talking point. Clearly the contact there with Boo. Give us your take on what happened.
Yeah, I mean, you just want an opportunity to stay on the inside. Had my nose in there. I was well up. Had to move into turn 1 and just took the evasive action. And then, yeah, he just kept turning in. And what can you do? So, yeah, disappointing with the penalty, but, you know, good pace in the Shannon's Audi and trucked on even with the penalty. So, yeah, can't be a bad day, you know.
So you're not too happy with the penalty then, because a lot of people thought it was quite a clear one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a split-second decision. I'd have to look at the replay, but, you know, I had my nose in there and, you know, people have had less in there before and they don't get penalties, so what more can I do, you know?
Well, you brought in a good man to help you. He's done exactly what he was, I assume, paid to do. He's come in and helped you win a good championship points. Garth Tander, how much fun have you had there with Liam?
Oh, it was great weekend. Great to share the car with Liam, so thanks very much to him for having me along this weekend. And it was great to go racing again. First race meeting of the year, so it's good to shake a bit of rust off and have a good time. So, yeah, nice to be here.
Boys, well done. Enjoy the celebrations.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Oh, there's a bit to go on, I feel, in the Speed Cafe Victory Lane for Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia. What a race. This is how it played out here at Queensland Raceway. Amazing stuff. Feisty start. Max Hopper trying to find a way through. Couldn't make it stick and then bashed into the side of Garth as they went through turn 1. The two Audis traded paint all the way through turn 1, all the way through turn 2, and then all the way down into turn 3 as well. The AMG was leading the race. Jamie Whincup driving superbly. Max Hopper throwing everything he possibly could at it. And then all of the leaders basically pitted all at the same time. And pit lane for Shannon's was a very busy place for a time. And that would really dictate how the remainder of the race would play out, with a bunch of the leaders all emerging very, very close together, just based on where their positions were and their stationary time. So it was two 888 Mercs with the Shannon's Audi in the middle as they resumed for the final 21 minutes basically at the end of the pit stop sequence. Remarkable stuff. Wild moment, Jeffrey Ibrahim off the road. Ross Polakis takes evasive action. Jeff Emery threads the eye of the needle and sails through both of them, and then would ultimately sail out and grab himself to second. This is the big talking point though. Talbot, he thought the move was on. 888 played their cards close to the chest at the end of that one. I'm sure the protest form is already on its way to Motorsport Australia Race Control. And big contact, it turned the 88 car around, never really recovered, and Jeff Emery would ultimately sneak past as well. Big reaction from 888. Talbot then had a 15-second penalty, needed to build a margin. He did just that, and he and Garth Tander won again. Jeff Emery and Max Hopper second, Abu Ibrahim and Jamie Whincup third, and a championship battle that is going to go right down to the wire. Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia is going off this year. There's the conversation.
Yeah, you don't want to not race. You know, I need to do a replay of that. Yeah, no, you're having a go. I knew you were going to do it.
Well, it all seems fairly
really amenable. Well, there's Shannon's car on top. Shannon's a great partner of the Speed Series, and they've got a great setup here with some cool cars. That's Rusty's car down in the Shannon's garage. While we've got a short break, check out this awesome competition from our mates at Shannon's.
Are you a motoring enthusiast? Shannon's are giving you the